welcome everybody. This is a regular board meeting for the Centerville Community School District. It is September 11th, 2023 at 5:30 p.m. in the Centerville Admin Office. And we will start with the Centerville Community School District's mission, which is all students will learn well, become lifelong learners, and contribute positively to society. I'd like to call the meeting to order with a roll call, please.
Moore.
Here.
Mike Thomas.
Here.
Bob Thomas. Shongle.
Here.
Berger.
Here.
Carter.
Here.
Wiskins.
Here. I'd like to welcome all of our visitors tonight, and we got a few people here tonight. I know some people are giving some presentations, but this is also a public forum time, so I'll read the district's policy on public forum. This doesn't necessarily apply to people giving presentations. This is mostly for the public forum. We'll now open the floor for public comment. I want to remind all speakers that while this is an open forum for any issues, the board does expect all speakers to maintain a civil tone and refrain from using profanity. I want to also remind all speakers that any comments that may be made during public comment are done so at the risk of the persons making the comment, and that the district will not be responsible for any defamatory or potentially defamatory statements which will be made about a particular person. It is the board's policy not to engage or respond to speakers during the public comment session. Regardless of the topic and or concern that the board wishes to further discuss or address an item or concern raised by the public comment, it will do so by establishing an agenda at a future board meeting. Is there anybody that'd like to make a public forum statement to the board? Seeing none, we'll move on to approving the agenda. We have a motion second to approve the agenda, please.
Motion to approve the agenda. Second.
Agenda is, and a motion second to approve the agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Agenda is approved. Next item is to approve the meeting minutes for the previous meeting from August 14th. Those were in your board packet.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the meetings of the August 14th meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Meetings minutes are approved. There is no old business. Going on to new business. Food service program update. We have Opa here. Linda and Emily are here. Come on up.
Hi guys, thank you for letting us come today.
Have a seat.
Oh, great. Can you see this? Oh, nice. I can see your head here. Okay.
There's Bob.
Hey, Bob. Okay, so my name is Emily Pattison. I'm the operations manager for OPA for the state of Iowa. I've been with OPA for about 5 years now. I started as a director in Dean, Illinois, a tiny little K-12 district. I kind of worked my way up and moved out to Iowa with OPA. So I'm here to just be able to answer any questions. I'm going to have Belinda kind of go through her board report, and then we'll kind of open it up over to you guys.
I'm very excited with how this school year has taken off so far. Last year, we kind of ended on a rough note. We lost some people, and we tried to open up and hire some people, and we weren't getting any applications. Things were kind of rough. So this year, we have opened up recs, and we have boosted those, so we have gotten a lot more applications. And I feel like we have started off in a good place. We have made some changes. We have made, we had a lot of pressure on Lakeview last year with making most everything for the high school and even for the middle school. They also do the preschool and they do Head Start. So we have made, the high school last year was probably about 85% self-sustaining, making their own stuff. And now Howard and the high school are completely 100% making their own food in their own kitchens, which is very nice. The quality
Can you
is.
go back to high school and Howard? So
High
100%?
school and Howard is 100% making their own food.
How in the world are you doing that at Howard?
It takes a lot of finagling in that kind of kitchen.
I was feeling a sort of way before I went to our leadership in July, which was down in Branson, and I wasn't sure, I wasn't feeling really confident about everything, but I went to leadership and I have a great team here in Iowa that I work with, and me and those ladies sat and we brainstormed and we talked. This is what I have, this is what I want to do, any suggestions on how to do it?
Is there a range in there?
There is not.
Okay, so
There is not.
we talked about that over the summer, getting a range in there, but what do you need for a hood?
We would have to have a hood.
A fire suppressant hood?
I'm assuming so, yes.
What if you had an electric range?
Even with that, you have to, because you're producing steam, which would produce mold up your walls. So the health inspector would not like that. I kind of went through that with the health inspector last year when she came to the high school to inspect us, because they have an electric range there, and she said, when did this show up? And I said, just this year. And she said, well, since you're getting a new school, I'm going to let it slide. But the reason they don't want it without a hood is because the steam rises and it produces mold.
Mold, okay.
Yes. So you don't want that.
So you need something to deal with mold, but does it have to be fire suppressant?
I would probably say maybe not. So North English is a district that we just recently took over, and at their elementary school, it's a kitchen very much like hers. They moved a tiny oven in there. They almost have like an at-home kind of hood, like one you'd see over your normal oven, and it has passed inspection, so it's not a
So
fire
if you
suppressant.
could research that, I
Yes,
know a guy,
definitely.
I know a guy that could help.
I know a guy.
Yes, sir. I will be happy to do that.
That'd be much better than I think what are you currently doing now for boiling water and such?
Well, we can boil water. The only thing that Lakeview makes for Howard, that we need is, if we need noodles. They cook the noodles in Howard, or Lakeview, and bring them to us at Howard.
Okay.
Aside from that, we've been making everything else ourselves.
We've been putting it in the oven, so the other thing that needs kind of boiling water is mashed potatoes. So we've been able to put that in a long steam table pan, get that in the oven and get it hot and
I've even used a roaster, and it gets the water hot enough to be able to mix
Okay.
up the potatoes.
So there's a lot of workarounds that you're having to do right now.
There's a lot of workaround, yes. That is the only place right now where I'm kind of struggling, because I hired a kitchen manager, and the kitchen manager just too much baggage with her home life. So if she hadn't bowed out, I was gonna let her go anyway.
Sure.
Okay.
So I'm on the hunt for a new kitchen
Okay.
manager for the middle school.
I can't help you with the kitchen, maybe. I can help you with cooking technology.
That's a good start.
Yes, a hood would be a good start with the stove, would be
Yeah,
wonderful.
if you find that out.
Yeah, yes, definitely.
Okay, all right, didn't mean to interrupt, but
No, you're perfect.
you're doing 100% in those two kitchens now, okay?
Yep, and it's nice whenever kids come through the line and they look at your food and they're like, this looks really good. You know,
Okay.
they've noticed that it looks better. I mean, and that's not saying that Lakeview wasn't doing a good job, it's just that they have to cook it so early, and then you have to put it in a cart and have to transport it in a vehicle over there, and it's bounced around a lot, and by the time it gets out and it's held, you know, just a lot of dynamics that just was not working.
Okay.
So anyhow, the board report, we served 1,386 breakfasts. This is for the month of August, and this is 7 days of service. We served 4,042 lunches, and we had 86 staff meals, and then we did $403.90 in a la carte. Like I said, we've had a great year. We have, been working very efficiently to produce good meals for the students. We have made the high school and the middle school self-sustaining kitchens, which means they prep, cook, and serve all their own meals. The quality of the meals have improved. OPA has also given us a new tool to use in producing and menu planning. It's called Healthy Pro. It's a menu. You can go into this, and you can scale all the menus, that if you need 35 servings of something, it scales it right to 35 servings, which is really nice. It has helped with the overproduction and the waste of things, so that has been nice too. There's also a piece in this that in November, we're gonna start doing our production records right in the computer, and then they will, whatever the program does, I don't understand all of that, but it talks to itself and it pulls from our inventory. It kind of helps with that too. It also will let us know like our meals per labor hour. It also helps with keeping track of what students like, what students don't like. That way when I'm planning the next menu, I can look at something and be like, oh, this didn't go over very well, and take it off of there. So that's a really nice tool also.
Another really cool tool is on the actual app, so when you go look at the menus, you could click on the right hand side that says build a meal. So before, what we used to have to do is print out all the contributions, so like all the nutrition aspects of each single recipe. It's like over 300 pages, stick it in a binder and hand it to a nurse, and she'd have to flip through the pages and figure out how many carbs are in a meal for a student that's diabetic. Now anybody, nurses, teachers, parents, can click build a meal, select the options they want their student to have, and it'll show the calories, fat, carbohydrates right there on the side, so parents can pick.
How often does that happen?
How often does what happen?
Does the school nurse have to do that for?
Well, if you have diabetics.
If you have a, it's every day. Yeah, if you have a diet.
Every day the nurses are in there doing it?
Yeah,
Yes.
having to flip through, figure out serving sizes and figure out how many carbohydrates are in there.
Okay.
So, and what it'll do is you can set a carb limit, which will then rate, like, put a line through items, that student can't have because it's over in the carbohydrate range. It also has the same thing for allergens, so if your student's allergic to eggs, dairy, different things like that, tree nuts, it will cross off everything, that has those ingredients in the recipe, so parents can see that as well.
That is convenient for that group, I would think.
Yeah.
Because when I was a principal, we didn't have that tool for our nurse, and I know our nurse had to flip, we had a booklet. that
Yeah,
they
it's
flipped through for
huge.
that.
Yes.
That was a pain.
Yeah, so that was probably one of the most exciting things, other than the scaling, it's nice, so we could see what we served last week on meatloaf, let's say it's 82 meatloaves, and then we were close to running out, so this week we're gonna make it 88, you can scale it right there, type in 88, and there's no figuring out how many tablespoons are in a quart and all that, it saves a lot of time in the kitchen, and it also helps our team become more accurate in how much they're making.
By making a lot of these changes, I have to give a huge shout out to Becky down at Lakeview. She has really taken ownership of her job at Lakeview. She has she's counted inventory every week. I mean, she has been doing ordering. She has really been having ownership of her job. She went into the storage room at Lakeview, completely went through it, weeded out some things we didn't need, readjusted things. I mean, it is really her setup, and everybody else is excited about it. And it's exciting to see how they come and they help her, and just the flow of that has just been a huge turnaround from what we had last year. So that is awesome. Katrina at the high school does an amazing job with what she does. She is very accurate with her numbers, our inventory every week. I mean, runs just about the same amount every week that she is there, and counting. It's amazing is what it is. So, very, very good.
Okay. So what's the biggest challenge? I was thinking coming in this, the logistics,
Yeah,
but it sounds
same.
like you've solved that. Okay.
I'm still hiring people. I've got a new one starting at Lakeview on the 18th. I had one leave us and go on to the district side to be an aide. So I've hired a person to, it's all right. I tell them all the time, if you're not happy, I mean, I've been in jobs where I'm not happy. So if you're not, find one that makes you happy. And this girl was very passionate about working with the kids. So I'm like, I'm happy for you, sad for me, but I will look. So I have a new one starting on the 18th to replace that person. And then I have a new application that just came in that I'm gonna call tomorrow to maybe be able to run our box truck for us.
So we ended up boosting her recs, we figured out a way to kind of boost them on Indeed, and that kind of pushes them to the top. So Belinda's probably gotten at least 10 to 12 applicants in the
Yes.
last month or so. So that's been really helpful for us because we've been able to be selective. We've been able to hire people that we felt like were a really good fit versus just trying to get people in to help. And so that's been really helpful for us as well.
We want quality bodies. I mean, and I thought that's what I was getting with the last box truck, who was excited and everything, and it just didn't work out. So I'm hoping, we'll keep going back and we'll just keep picking, and, hopefully we get the right people to fit in those jobs that feel passionate about the school and what they're doing and want to stay. So,
And at some point, when it gets closer to actually being able to tell what it is, I think, have you guys do a walkthrough of the new kitchen at CHS?
definitely, yeah, definitely.
So it
That's
should be
exciting.
bigger and
Yeah.
better.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
It's huge.
Well, and I'm excited at the fact that I'm hoping, new kitchen, the cafeteria will be a little bigger, everything is all on one level. Kids don't have to come downstairs, maybe our participation there will increase, and might be even some opportunities that we might need somebody else there too.
I worked with the marketing team last year and at the end of last year. We created some new signage for OPA. They're the nice, like the big fresh market signs that we have in there. We have some nice ones that talk about a la carte and pizza stations, and it just really livens up the cafeteria. So maybe that's something we can look at once you kind of get it built. Maybe we can order some new signage and just make it look really nice in
Yeah,
there.
that's awesome.
You can have a sneak peek on homecoming weekend because we're gonna do some tours.
Oh, cool, yeah.
But, so you get a sneak
Yeah,
You can have one of them,
Whatever that is.
and then later when we have equipment layout and so forth, and we're gonna have to go back and look at what equipment we, based on what they're saying and what we did with the value engineering, we're gonna have to really look at equipment.
remember we ended up putting all that back in at one point
Yeah.
too, so.
And that's something I have to say too. I commend the district for everything I've asked for, everything I've needed replaced, anything I've needed. Everybody has been more than accommodating to fix things, solve problems, you know, which has been awesome. So I really am grateful for that. I mean, I feel like even though, when I first started, I felt like I was not part of the team because I wasn't hired through the district. I don't feel that way anymore because everybody is just more, you know, more open, you know, and that's how I want to be, is more open, so.
Okay.
What is also really exciting is that OPA has 14 schools in Iowa, and I'd already told Mr. Taylor this, but, so Emily does a leaderboard. We have a weekly meeting every week, and we do a leaderboard for how well we do in different categories financially. And the first week, Centerville was on 3 of the 5 categories. And then last week, when she had her meeting, Centerville was on 4 of the 5.
These are your internal metrics that you may have to cover.
Yeah, so like
Yes.
participation, combined meals, so like staff meals, a la carte, all mixed together, and things like that.
So, and I always tell all of the staff, you know, hey, we had our meeting, this is where we ended up. And I always tell them, this is not me, this is you, this is everything that everybody is doing. So thank you very much for all of your hard work.
Well, whenever I run into kids, I always ask them, tell you about school lunch. And the number one comment that I get back is they like having options. More so than anything else, they like having options.
Good.
Awesome.
Well, it'd be very boring if you went to a restaurant and you could only order one thing.
Yeah,
Yes.
Unless it's the one thing I wanna work on.
Yeah, right. Your favorite. You would get tired of eating that all the time.
You're right.
I can walk yes and order just one thing there all the time.
As long as that's the thing.
I can do it, but I have 3 that I do.
But if you look at your
Yeah.
board report, the top picture here, this is like a breakfast bar. This was taken at the high school. And she's just got her fruit and her cereal and stuff out there for them. Breakfast is something that is really tough at the high school. I think the highest I've seen her numbers is maybe 12. And it's just because high school kids have a lot of
Yep.
options, and we are in the basement, so, you know.
Yeah.
I get it. And then the next one beside it is just off of our chef bar. We've got our lettuce, our cheese, and then up in the little corner, we have chicken patties on Wednesday. So if we have anything left over, they like it on that chef bar the next day, anything. So we do cut those up and put it on the chef bar, and they like them on their salads. And then we do fresh bread, which is here in the middle, Italian bread that we cut, and then the bottom 2, one is calzones, and then the other one is just a picture off of our fruit and veggie bar. So. And then, do you want me to pass these out too?
It's up to you. So, Belinda had mentioned that we had talked about participation being lower than before. And so, I did some research on it. And so, I found the Student Nutrition Association, and it's a national program that helps with student nutrition. And they posted an article about participation being lowered compared to the 2018-19 school year and then as well as last year. So last year was the first year that we saw that meals were not free, and every district saw a sharp decline in meals in that. And so, so this is kind of in between. So there was also a decline from the 2018-19 school year to last year as well, just because parents didn't have to pay for those meals for 2 or 3 years. And when they came back, they had already kind of allocated that money elsewhere. Lunch money went to bills and other things like that. And then the price of those meals also went up as well. So here's a little article from the SNA about what to expect meals dropping from that time. There's a little bit more on the bottom of it, so the website is at the bottom of the article if you guys wanted to pull it up on there. Like online, you could check out the rest of the article, but I just wanted to pass that along.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Any other questions from the board?
Well, I think, Ms. Potter, you are the right person for the job.
Oh, well,
Yes,
thank
you
you
are.
very much. Thank you.
She's done an awesome job.
And I also would like to thank you. Her daughter was the Athens County Fair Queen,
Ah,
and I had the privilege of ferrying her through the.
Oh, was that your car?
That was my car.
Very nice, very
I
nice.
enjoyed the conversation.
Oh, well, thank you.
That young lady is going somewhere.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you.
We had a couple OPA people that went to the state fair that same day, so we kind of had a little OPA section to cheer on them. And it was really fun, because we kind of like had somebody from OPA in there as well. And luckily, she was right at the beginning, because Athens was right in the beginning, so we were able to see her, and then she kind of sat for most of the time. But it was exciting for OPA also to be able to cheer her on.
We're after Al McKee, I think, right? I mean, we're pretty close.
No, she was like third or fourth there, right in the beginning. So we were like, yay! And then we were like, okay, everybody else can sit down. So, yeah. Any other questions?
anything else from the board?
And if there's something that, because I've talked to the ladies, and the hope is to bring them back up a couple more times this year. So if there's something that you'd like to kind of have information on for the next time they come, this would be a great time to kind of guide that a little bit if we want to.
But I guess moving forward, and when we do the new addition, new kitchen and things like that, do you see, like a different menu, or just, how do you see the high school operating once we have the newer, bigger facility?
We can definitely update menus. There's a lot of options with OPA. There's a lot of fun student favorites, which are like pizza bars and different things like that. Things that the students want, but necessarily we'll still make those homemade options, but let's be real, a lot of those students really want cheeseburgers and pizzas and stuff. So we have a nice little a la carte section, we can set that up. And also set up a fruit and veggie bar stands next to it to make it a reimbursable meal. So that's our goal, is that they're not just grabbing a slice of pizza and leaving, they're grabbing the pizza and some fruit and milk. And a lot of times if they're like that free and reduced student, they'll also get that for free or reduced versus paying just a flat a la carte rate. So we've set up a lot of nice stands kind of in that a la carte range that shows them how to turn some of those things into a reimbursable meal. So yeah, we can do a lot more once we have a little bit more
I think
space.
there'll be some nice spaces there for that too.
Awesome.
Just kind of walking that space in there.
Yeah.
Were you with me when we discovered where the fridge, the walk-in fridge is back
Yeah.
there? And so I think, as we walked it, I think the thing that we thought was, the space is so much bigger than you would expect.
Nice.
There's a lot
It
of
was
room.
about 3/4 the size of this room.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're like,
Wow.
what is this?
I'm jealous.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's that.
I can't wait to see it.
It felt about that big. Look,
Maybe a third.
it was big, it was big.
Let's, but I think we need to try and solve this, our kitchen.
Yeah.
We need to do we'll figure out a couple of options there.
Probably the biggest thing that would help us out with power is that, I talked to Mr. Taylor, I haven't had a chance to get my numbers together, but, so we're really, you cook things, we really don't have anything, everything is on a 16 by 24 sheet when you're cooking it. You really have nowhere to put that whenever it comes out of the oven. So we're taking it off of that, and you're reducing the quality by having to take it off of that pan and putting it in another pan to try to hold it in our little holding carts that we have right now. So I had asked Mr. Taylor if it would be an option that we could look at maybe like a proofer / warmer. That way whenever you cook these items, you bring them out, they go right into the warmer, and they stay hot until you're ready to serve them. So that cuts down on some labor there too, and it also will help with the food quality also.
Absolutely.
So if we could do that, I mean, that's the biggest thing I've asked for, and if we could make that work, then I would be happy even if we didn't have a stove. I mean, we've kind of figured out the rest of it, that I think we would be okay.
And I think long range, we've got some ideas that we've just kind of bounced around, and I think brought a couple people through. There's a space down there that might be good long range for a better kitchen for
Like
Howard.
the kitchen used to be someplace else.
Yeah, that's
We
what they were saying.
looked at that one day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. There's another oven, it's an oven and a steamer. It
Ooh,
works
awesome.
really fast.
Oh, awesome.
You might want to look at that gas steamer.
Okay.
Because it's an oven to plate kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
Like a combi oven?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are really nice.
Well, that's the one that you were.
That's
trying
the
to
one I
get grant
mentioned.
for,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we applied for a grant to try to get a combi oven, so I did the same thing in Hudson. We wrote a grant for it, and she was able to receive about $56,000, and she was able to buy a double stacked combi oven and a smoker attachment. So we've been smoking all of our turkeys and all of our roasts, which has been really great. And so that really helps because it self cleans also, but it cooks, it steams. One time I forgot to take off the steam effect and I put biscuits in there, and I don't know if you've ever seen what steam biscuits look like, but it's awful. I pulled them out and I was like, guys, I'm so sorry. I promise I know what I'm doing, but I'm so sorry. So we had to quickly make biscuits again. They turn out like hockey pucks. So you gotta be careful, but they are really nice because you can switch your method of cooking really quickly.
And it cooks fast.
It cooks very fast, yes.
Yeah.
It pumps steam in there, and so you can control the moisture too, so when you're baking breads and other things like that, that require a little more moisture, it helps.
I mean, that might be something to consider for there.
Yeah, definitely, because it also saves space
Yes.
versus having multiple pieces of
And the
it.
cool thing is our year goes along and we have all of the pieces put together. It will free my time up more that I can work on writing some grants for equipment and different things like that.
Right.
Yes.
So this is making more sense to me. And kind of talked with Mark a little bit about it over the weekend. Thursday, I don't say I was jumped by parents and students, but I got a middle schooler and he's a picky eater, so half of what he says goes in one ear out the other. But I know he's not watching this. So he's not watching.
They let him know.
But there were a lot of comments on, running out of some different things, or it wasn't quite warm, and then hearing that you're actually in that kitchen 100%, I had no clue, and the kids probably didn't realize that either, so number one, kudos. So a lot of that makes sense, so I think, and we will have to have.
Yeah, there's a lot of
facilities.
issues. There's a lot of issues with trying to keep things
Right.
warm because we just don't have the equipment to be able to do it.
So
How much
ideally
does
we
a
want,
proofer oven cost?
so a
You're
proofer.
talking about, I think they have like a Subway for ovens, right?
Yeah, yeah. So a proofer slash warmer, usually the one that we get is about $2,200 roughly. It's like a middle road one. But yeah, so they're trying to, we like to batch cook ideally, so that means they're cooking in between each service, throwing fresh pans in. But when she's also trying to use the oven as a warmer, she can't also cook out of it as well. So that's kind of where she's either having to cook everything up and then hold it, things like that.
What's the combi oven worth now?
I think about 36,000.
Yeah, I don't know that guy.
And it-
I can see if I can get a hold of that guy.
We know that guy.
I know a corn top oven guy.
We'll take it. Yeah.
Well, I think we're gonna continue to work on some equipment, I think particularly there for Howard to support this and that not warmer, the thing. Will certainly be valuable, and I would say if you think of things that you'd like the next time they come back, we'll probably aim for some time, maybe winter-ish, for their next visit with us, and just let me know and I can get questions to them and ask them to kind of put info together for us on that. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Very
Thanks for letting us come.
Thank you.
Thank you. And my door is always open, my email, just, you can shoot me a text, whatever, and I'm always there.
Okay, all right. Thank you guys. Have a good night.
Thank you. So we can't take action on this, but would you like to consider some time to row on the performance here?
I think we can have conversations in that direction, and this wants me to be careful in how I say things like this, so.
The way I'm saying it,
I think our nutrition fund is in relatively decent shape, and we
because from a meeting standpoint, the board can't take action
Right.
and give you rowing direction. That's why we'll give you time to,
Yeah, we're gonna.
we can't give you steering direction, we'll give you time to row on this one.
We're gonna roll a little bit here.
The proofer is a solution, but this combi oven, if you haven't seen it work, it really speeds things up, and it really is oven to plate.
But I like if there's a grant we can get, that would be the way to.
And I think, so Emily, the one she applied for, I guess it comes up each year, and she's gonna try again for us next year, is what she was talking
If we
about.
got if we considered at some point the warmer slash proofer, I mean, that's something that we could always use in the district. And definitely would be a step up from where they're at now to try to help.
I can't believe they're cooking in Howard. and that they're making that level of effort. I think we just really need to do everything we can to
I feel
support
bad,
that.
because I know at least Derek, I think one other person, I didn't realize just how much they were able to get
I
done.
did not know that.
Because when I last talked to them, they were still working on solutions to some of that, so.
Especially in little blocks like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's,
Okay,
Yeah.
Ready for our next friend?
I am. All right, we'll move on to college and career transition counselor. Come on in.
I'm a visual person. Auditory is great. I know some of you, but my name is Jill Whistler. I grew up here in Centerville. I just moved back actually from being 10 years on the West Coast, so it's nice to be back in town.
Where were you at?
I was in Oregon.
What was that?
Oregon, thank you. So I'm working for Indian Hills as the college and career transition coach for both Centerville and Moravia High Schools. And it was kind of recommended at our statewide conference that we get in front of school boards and just make it known what we're doing, what the goals are, and trying to be as transparent as possible about how this relationship works between Indian Hills and the schools, and really what our services are for students. So I put together just a small about me and what this position is. But truly the goal is to come in and support your counseling staff in any way we can in terms of college and career exploration and planning. I tell students I'm not just Indian Hills lady. I'm here to help anybody, freshman through senior, and we actually follow them into their first year of post-secondary planning. Really, it's just trying to get them to have a plan and a goal and an idea of what they're doing once they graduate. So right off the bat this year, I've done a lot of work just helping students with that dual enrollment with Indian Hills, being logged into their classes, helping them set up their emails, that kind of stuff. But from here, actually tomorrow and Wednesday, I will be in front of every junior and senior, just introducing myself, having them take a little survey about where they're at within their planning or what they might be interested in. And from there, really diving into the students that need the most help and encouragement to find a plan after they graduate. So I've been working really hard with Savannah Trower. She's been incredible. I think a really great addition to Centerville. She cares about these kids a lot. And what's great is she is so passionate about mental health. And I'm really passionate about the college and career planning, so I feel like we're going to be a really dynamic duo for the district. But you can see, I mean, in terms of college and career, it really covers anywhere from you have no idea what you want to, okay, you have enrolled in your college and how can I help you from there. So my goal is to expose students to any and all opportunities, whether that be community college, a voc tech program, you know, your four-year university, the military. If they need to go straight to the workforce, how do we get them to be the most qualified candidate for that? So I think sometimes we hear college and career and we think that I'm just funneling students into that four-year path. I'm really here to support them in whatever the goals may be. So I'm here again just to answer any questions or try to help clarify what this relationship looks like between the college and Centerville School District. So
What year did you graduate?
2012,
Okay,
yeah. Annie was a year younger than me.
got it.
Yeah, yeah. If you're trying to put that together.
I'm just trying to figure out which one of my kids did you graduate?
And then I think Katie was 2 years older. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, the fact that you graduated 11 years ago and I have somebody that graduated longer than
Time is crazy, right?
Yeah, that's great. Okay.
Yeah. So I hope I did an okay job explaining that.
Yeah.
But any other questions?
I think this is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny, my wife and I were talking about this weekend, how when we were in school, that guidance piece wasn't really there. You know, didn't know opportunities with, you know, dual enrollment or scholarships, you know, student aid, and all the above, so I just.
And truly, it's not for
Incredible.
lack of effort. I think counselors are, I mean, they wear a lot of hats,
Right.
and especially with the increase in mental health needs. And, you know, even just watching Savannah have to coordinate schedules the last 2 weeks, it's hectic in there. And so any way that I can support and kind of fill that gap to make sure that the conversations are being had, the services are there, is really what the goal is. Mhm.
So are you gonna do like FAFSA training and all that kind of
Yes,
stuff? Okay.
definitely. Yeah, so I had to report goals actually today to the Department of Ed, and one of mine is to get the FAFSA completion rate up. It dropped about 12% last year, which is significant.
And I'm here,
So,
I don't know, how, we can talk about this sometime. I don't know how you crack the code on this one, because we did a lot of FAFSA applications.
Yeah,
Just remembering the stupid passwords to get everything right.
Yeah, well, and unfortunately, I don't know if you guys have heard, but federally, they've had a Financial Aid Simplification Act. They still
Okay.
don't know a date into which FAFSA opens for this upcoming school year, which is problematic. All we know is December. So having someone in here, I mean, I'm working with Indian Health Financial
But
Aid.
every
to
year
figure it
going
out.
through that, even just not their freshman year, it was just going on, it's just like, okay, I'm in this program again, and it's just, it won't let me, what am I doing wrong, even though I've done this 12 times?
Absolutely. And it changes every year.
Right, and
It's,
so
you know,
that's a,
ideas
that's a
and
need, not
questions.
just for the first year of college, but going
Yeah.
on. So
Yeah.
if you can crack the code to help parents.
Well, I was first generation college goer, and I mean, I was the fourth of siblings, and it was still a world to navigate. So
Yep.
if you don't have someone there supporting you at home, it's even harder. So I'm hoping to do the FAFSA stuff, but also pull in these local scholarships and state scholarships and get students those opportunities for any sort of financial aid. Yeah, FAFSA is never last, unfortunately.
Is your job a permanent job at Indian Hills, or are you operating on a federal grant of some sort?
Yeah, so my cohort, there's actually 60 of my positions housed in all 15 of the community colleges. So this is the third year, so I'm the third cohort of these positions. I'm housed under the Perkins grant, so it's a 3-year grant funded position, but hopefully it doesn't go anywhere. After 3 years, I guess we'll renegotiate, but.
When the state did make this was a position that was actually added specifically to operational sharing by the state, and it was one of the few changes that came out through operational sharing to add this, because they recognized the mental health need that the counselors were overseeing, and how when you're dealing with kids in crisis, a lot of times filling out the FAFSA and things like that end up taking them back, going on the back burner, to use our last conversation, I guess. So this is a huge addition to counseling departments and high schools across the state right now.
And the first pilot program, I think it was 4 years ago in Eastern Iowa, for one of the community colleges there, and I mean, they saw student FAFSA completion rates go up significantly. Their post-secondary intent went up significantly, them actually enrolling into a program after high school did. So the numbers are there, and the numbers support that these positions are needed.
And the way that because Hills approached the districts with these, which we were really excited about, because we were wanting this position anyway, internally, staff-wise. They've built the sharing model in a way that it's sustainable after the grant ends by every organization in the sharing, using the money that they receive and sharing dollars for that position to pay towards salary. So in theory, it should be sustainable into perpetuity as long as everybody continues to receive sharing dollars in this amount for those positions.
And Indian Health, I mean, they started with 2 last year, and our team is up to 6, so I would say that it's just gonna keep growing. So we have CCTCs, or career college transition coaches, 2 in Atumwa, 1 in Atumwa Gateway, Davis County, Eddyville, Cardinal, Moravia, I'm not with Moravia, so it's really growing. I think they'd like to see it expand within the 10 counties that they serve, so, and accessible.
And so you have an office in the high school right now.
Yep, I'm in the office at Centerville, and then I do have an office in Moravia on Mondays.
Huge positive energy in the high school counseling world right now, the student supports world. Jill obviously is doing some great things for kids, working very closely with Savannah Trower, who's been a wonderful hire in that position. We've got Molly Van Roppel, who serves us in another role from Indian Hills, Upward Bound. And then Emily Kozak, who you probably know from she's probably talked to you in years past on some of the Power School and state reporting items that she does, but she also serves as a student advisor. Last year it was largely with the virtual program, now it's with the high school. And those 4 ladies have just really taken on this synergy that almost if you don't know where they're going, you just kind of got to get out of the way and let them do their thing, because they've just got a great plan there.
Brad said we're gonna be a wonderful headache.
That's good, I like
No,
that.
it's good, it's good. And honestly, I know it sounds like we might have a lot of crossover, especially with Molly and being Upward Bound, but we've had a lot of conversations of like, we don't need to reinvent the wheel, how can we collaborate? So even like Jamie Claywell from Vocational Rehab, we've been in conversations, how do we get guest speakers? How do we get students on, work-based learning visits? And the ideas are fine, so we just
so.
Just need time, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Glad you're here.
Thanks. I am too. It's good, it's a good fit, yeah.
Anything else from the board? Welcome home. Thanks for what you're doing for our kids.
Yeah, thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Have a good night, guys.
Take it easy.
Okay. It's good to have these updates because we approved these positions a few months ago, and to see it come in, I think is a good tie-in, so thank you, Mark, for doing that.
That has been awesome already, so we're excited, yeah.
Jill, I mean, I'll be honest with you, Jill is my niece.
Oh.
And she was so excited to get this position and so excited at at the good she was able to do. I mean, she's, I don't know whether it's real obvious, but she's pumped up, I tell you.
Yeah. That's wonderful.
I think it's a lot of good things working out of
Yeah.
Can we have the person that's upward bound come and
That's a
tell?
great idea.
Because I taught in upward bound, where I went to Truman, lived there for the summer, worked with a group of kids, but each high school had 2 or 3 kids, and I know it's different from what I was doing 40 years ago, I guess.
I'll get with her, get over there. I know it'll probably be, winter or later. She's heavily into coaching right now for volleyball, so I think we'll get her up and running.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
Okay. Next item C is appoint a board member delegate for the delegate assembly. As we do this, you have a handout on your, that I put in there. This is from me. I'm going to do some notes to all board members about some things. First of all, you can see the election information up in there. That's just date for everybody to know. I don't want anybody to, because we have people that are watching live stream, I don't want anybody to say I'm running, I'm not running, because I don't think that would be fair to people who are watching. I don't want their decision to run or not run to be influenced by that. But you can just see that, the dates in here that we've got to pay attention to. And if anybody is watching the live stream and you are interested in running for the school board, papers need to be into the district a week from this Thursday. So you got about 10 days. If you have any questions, you can contact me, Mark, any board member, Lisa, and we'll help you. We do want to encourage people to run. Having said that, on the IASB convention dates, there's a couple of dates in there, November 15th, 16th. That's the convention date basically for all board members and superintendent, MPO secretary. The district already has hotel reservations. The action item that we're talking about here is the delegate. The delegate is actually on the morning of the 15th. That's also the same time, if you remember going like the Finance 101, 102 and all that kind of stuff, those are all taking place at the same time as delegate convention. So that training, I think, is probably more important than the delegate.
We ended up not having one last year.
Yeah, well, yeah. Can't remember what, oh, yeah, okay, I remember when that happened, but I don't know if we need a delegate. I've been through 101, 102, 103, all through those twice. So I don't need to go through those again. So I would serve the delegate if you think we need to have somebody. I think
they'd like us to appoint a person at the very least.
how important is it being at the delegate convention? Mr. Yulin.
I'm not sure. The time I went, it was kind of a rigged system that it didn't matter if you were there or not. They called 3x5 cards about why they're for it, kind of a thing. It was a effort in futility as far as that, because they want all this stuff to pass. And I think the staff makes sure that's what happens. But then, who was board president before you, Marty,
Yeah.
actually got something added to our legislative agenda by being a delegate and bring it up that day, so I guess you could make a difference if you've got something you wanna make a difference with.
Well,
But I'm
I don't know if they like what I would have to say on our legislative agenda.
They would mute you.
What's that?
They'd mute you.
I'd say since you're volunteering,
I mean,
I'm willing to nominate
you
you.
want to nominate me.
Yes.
I mean, I'm willing to do it because at least somebody that in the room has been there once before, we know it's worth going back again. Because I'm really not interested in finance 101 for the third round. I'm going through all those.
So you know everything about finance stuff?
No, but I bet you I know more than you.
Oh, man.
I guarantee you do.
I'll throw that one down there.
Well, guarantee next board meeting.
Lisa's gonna host a game show.
Yeah.
Family feud.
Yeah.
School board finance.
It's just a point of order, I mean, the notice, I
Right.
guess. I did tell Lisa
Yep.
before the meeting that this is the same time as the International Pool and Spa Show.
Okay,
So, I will cut that show short,
Okay.
return to Des Moines on the 15th, and I will be there for the 16th
Okay.
convention.
thank you. Because that was the same thing last year. You have the same,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Okay,
but I do want to be there for the 16th.
okay, perfect. Okay.
As a delegate, you can have IASB move this to like February.
Well,
So new board members have a chance.
I've actually had a talk with, okay, first of all, we do have a motion.
Awesome.
A
I'll
nomination.
second Mike's
We have a
motion.
nomination second.
Who seconded that?
Barry. All right, all in favor of me being the delegate to the delegate assembly? Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. All opposed? Aye, no. I'm just kidding. So no, I'll do it. All right, so now having, because that was on the table. So going back to that, I've actually had discussions with IASB on that. Because it does not make sense, as we've talked about
Right.
all of these things. And the pushback is, number one, finding another recurring date in the convention center that's available because they're so booked up with things that are that weekend every single year, just like IASB is. So that's one of those,
If you're gonna change it, be 5 years before you
yeah.
get into the system.
Yeah, that's the biggest issue with changing it. And it used to be okay in November when school elections were in September.
Yeah.
So, but I agree with you that it should be pushed off until like January, February. Okay.
I thought it was December.
Well, okay,
That's what we tried.
that's what we tried for December, we tried.
Couldn't get a little there to your
We
Christmas
tried in
shopping.
December because that way you can bring your wives, and they can do your Christmas shopping while you're at it. Or another day.
Yes.
Okay, anyways, 15th and 16th is kind of what everybody's been through there. On the 17th is the board president's workshop. It's 4 hours in which, oh, by the way, is open to board vice presidents and some superintendents have attended. So if you're interested in being the board president, vice president, we already have a superintendent that's taken. I would tell you that having gone to this twice in the past, you sit down, there's 300 some school districts, but 40 people attend that meeting. And I'm telling you, the discussion in those 4 hours, if I could just pick any 4 hours of those 3 days, that's the 4 hours I'd get. Because you're with other board presidents, superintendents, you're talking about in-depth issues. And there's a lot of really good ideas, because they'll bring something up and they'll just like, hey, wait a minute, this is going on in my district, who's got some advice for me? And it's just, it's a great time of collaboration, and because it's more of a small group discussion, so, just saying, that also is on the 17th, so. Having gone through all of that, just so everybody's planning for the convention, we also like to do a, kind of like we've done a meal before, and we'll probably do that on the night of the 15th. I will say that we do have hotel reservations. Lisa has made those. She made those on the first day they were open. And for all of you princesses, no, you're not gonna get a walk through the walkway. Bring a coat, because by the time she called in, that was completely sold out.
Very close hotel that is very fine.
For those who don't know, there's a little bit of whining about the wind when we were walking back from dinner last year.
God, it was cold.
Bring a coat.
I won't be at Dickens this year.
Do you agree?
It's very close, it's across the parking lot. And some people at School Administrators of Iowa sometimes will tease me for this one, because I like this hotel, but it is cheaper. Bob, I think you and I have talked about it, it's the Comfort Inn, right across the.
It's the one that we
Is it
stayed at
bad?
before.
It's fine, isn't it?
It's the one we stayed at last year.
It's loose and it's, okay.
No.
It's past its prime. And I didn't realize that until I
decent.
started looking around myself.
Fair enough.
I just want a shuttle.
That one right next to it is
Okay.
really nice.
All right,
Yeah.
back to all this. IASB Annual Board Awards. Okay, from your last year, I got recognized, I did not, I knew, they told me like the week before I qualified for it, I didn't know it. The way there's a point system, and oh, by the way, I listed everybody's points there. The only reason you're down is because you get 3 points for each of the training sessions you go to, like Finance 101, 102, you get 3 points for each one of those. You get another 6 points for attending the convention on Thursday. So just by going last year, everybody got 12 points. I got 3 more points because I stayed over on the 17th.
See,
And that's
that's where you're working the numbers.
that's where
They're
we're
working on numbers, there's
So-
the margins.
I qualified for next year just by going to the meeting last year, and everybody is three points away. So Tammy Drawbaugh, I talked to her today, she's supposed to be sending me an email with some links that we'll get out to everybody. If you go into the IASB website, there's some the Learning Hub in there. 3 one-hour webinars, and then you report those points and you'll qualify. To me, it is leading by example on our professional development to get to the 15 points. You're gonna have a tougher call. You know, if you wanna put in nine hours worth, you can. But to you, I get it, it's a little different. But if we get 4 board members to do this, then the district is recognized as a whole for having a board level award. 21 districts out of 315 or 320 last year were recognized for having that. It's pretty rare, it's less than 10% of the boards that do that, and we are so close. To me, it's leading by example, it's also professional development. So Tammy is gonna go ahead and get some suggested webinars, and then we're done. You can either self-report or, actually I've been told either Mark or Lisa can go in and report the points. We have to do it by October 31st. So as soon as I get the link, I'll send it out to you, and I would just ask that you would all consider spending 3 hours to do that. And I think that should be a goal of the board. Again, it's leading by example. Oh, by the way, Atlantic School District has done it annually every year for 20 years.
So,
Go ahead.
so you attend a seminar and you get points, is
Yep.
it? Well, I attended several seminars,
Online?
no, during the day, but those don't count, right?
No, those don't count.
Right, gotcha. But I can.
What counts, so you get 6 points for Thursday.
Right,
You already got your points.
I can do something online then.
You can do some stuff online. I'm gonna get some links to do that.
Okay. I'll get discovered.
All right.
Okay.
I just think it would be, to me, again, it's this professional development lead by example. So,
What is the, when do we have to have it done by, or, you know?
October 31st.
That's right after when she came to me.
That was before, that was last convention year.
Alright.
See, the other thing we can do this year to make it a little easier, we can have Tammy come and do something, we get points for having Tammy come to us. I tried to get our retreat in there, but because ISB wasn't participating, we don't get points for that.
Out from Camp Flight on
Yep,
that one.
okay, I tried. All right, so any questions on the
Get ready now.
convention? Okay, I really appreciate everybody kind of stepping up and making that a thing to go to, so I appreciate it. Okay. So we got the delegate, okay. D, approve second reading of board policies.
Took the changes that we talked about at the last meeting and put those into place. Like, for example, my wonderful misspelling of the word speak. Advanced degrees, and I can't spell basic words, that was fun. And there were a couple small things, I just marked them on here and I got those adjusted. So we should have all of those random little typos changed.
Any further comments on the board policies that we've had the previous readings on?
Motion to approve, second reading.
We have a motion second to approve the second reading of board policy series 200. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Policies are okay. We'll get through all that.
What's next, Tom? Or Tom, Mark?
Wow! 500 is what I'd like to do, just because a couple things have come up that we need to move that one up from where I wanted to do it. Unfortunately, there's, I want to say it was like 50 15 or 16 policies that the policy primer says that we should update first, so we're probably gonna have to hit those as a separate thing before we do a new series. Just because there's some changes to nursing regulations, and some changes to like book, library book rules and everything. So I'll probably have to hit with the policy primer ones before we do the 500 series. With 500 series, the group that said yes to being on the high school graduation requirements group, and I've got that back in the notes. We'll probably get together on that some, kind of talk through that. 500 series is big because that's students, so that's the bulk of our work. And in case, so that there's no controversy that comes from anybody that listens, as we look at graduation policies, I know a big item of concern for a lot of people in the community is graduation with honors. And so as we look at that, what I would like to not do, and I believe that I'd have good support on that, I don't want any changes that we make to hurt anyone who's already in high school. So if a student is already working towards one goal, that student should be able to accomplish their goal using the current rules.
So they're locked into the policy that was effective the year they started.
Well, and I kind of have it in my mind with the graduating with honors that one option may be even, you could qualify from the new way or the old way. So that there's more opportunity for kids to be able to do that now.
It's not gonna be harder, it'd be equal to or easier.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Fair, it would be fair to all kids is what we go
Okay.
for. I just think that's
There's
important.
no punitive making it harder.
Right.
Okay,
Yep.
that's really what I was going after, so. Perfect, okay. Item E, approved business personnel procedures, quite a few of them, typical for beginning of the school year, and there were some ads that were on the table, there were some updated things in there.
Couple of questions, maybe. Elizabeth Logs, is she teaching Spanish or something in ag?
Ag. Well, and it's kind of ag adjacent, I think they're doing a little bit, like some consumer things with it too, but, with the one on the table about officially transferring McKinley Lane to the full-time high school math position that was vacated after the last meeting, we didn't have that Spanish available for middle school. And one, we needed to fill that spot in the schedule. We have a pretty large 6th grade class. And two, we wanted to make sure whatever it was a value add for kids. And it was something that Liz was willing to come back on a very part-time, very temporary basis for us to get us started for the year. I know Rhonda has some plans for how to move forward with the rest of the year there. But she was willing to, she's working on starting a new business with her husband on the south end of town there, was willing to give us a couple months at least to get us rolling.
Okay, then Randy's job, is that job outside the school day or?
Yep. Can I
Okay,
talk
go
about
ahead,
that?
yeah, you're good, you.
So we approved a virtual content specialist, like a last meeting as well, and those are overled contracts because they're serving as our virtual teachers, teachers of record. They all have anywhere from like 5 to 15 kids depending on the content, and so he's just an additional teacher that wasn't completed by the time the last ones went through, and it's just because we're using our own teachers this year instead of that Edmonton. They have like time for kids to be able, office hours that kids are able to Zoom with them if they need to, and then they're also checking additional work and things throughout, which can be kind of cumbersome as we are learning.
As we went through the various models with the virtual school, this is the positions that, and this was a concern kind of coming in, seeing it last year, we were asking people to work to correct papers for an additional class, but there was no incentive to do that, there was no pay to do that, so these are the positions, those content-specific positions to give some incentive to have somebody be willing to sign up and do that for us. Definitely appreciative to the group of people that we've got that have done that. In total, I think we've got, is it 5 people that are doing that for us?
Yeah, because luckily Joanne, who's overseeing most of the virtual, she's able to do 2 of those subjects for us, so then we had to hire math, science, and luckily some of those people we call them content specialists because they're certified in multiple areas, which is always a positive. So we have some FCS with some PE and things like that, so worked out well.
we only have a few kiddos that are having to take an Inventum course, which is where we have an Inventum teacher for those students. And it's just because we didn't have anybody certified to do that course or something, but we've limited that compared to where we were last year.
What's the enrollment look like this year? Virtual?
We have one elementary student, which was kind of our commitment to not really add any other elementary kiddos, and then 6-12, we have about, I would say 15. Few seniors that I think are finishing that way.
I'd like to point out a special note to all of the substitute bus drivers on
Good job, Mike.
Yeah, good job, Mike, number one. That's what I was gonna say. And second thing, it looks like maybe the pay adjustment we did was an incentive for some people, so. And Aaron's in there.
Yeah, Aaron's pretty willing to do just about anything. He's a pretty good dude.
He's a gutsy guy.
And Wayne, you talked Wayne into it, huh?
Yeah.
Well,
It's not my favorite thing to do.
and I saw that we have one aide that's a bus driver also. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
we do.
Yes.
That's right.
This has worked out really well.
You know, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
It gives our
And it's really helped out getting some kids to school a little bit sooner because we're not waiting on a regular route driver to then go get them. So
How long was it that you said that we've saved in those students' time? Was it almost an hour?
yes,
Time that we wouldn't have been able to get them into class because they need to have a little bit different transportation because it's a special needs situation for younger grades. And we've bought an hour of instruction for kids by that lady being willing to do that for us. So really appreciative we found her. Julie found her.
well, she found us.
She found us, yeah.
But no, it's been a good, and she does a great job as an aide too, so.
Yeah. Parents are really pleased with her too. I mean, I had a chance to talk to some of the parents on that route there and they really liked her a lot.
Anything else on all the personnel business transactions, processes, procedures? I can't speak. I'm having a language issue tonight.
It's the mustache.
filters the word.
Otherwise, I would take a motion and a second to approve.
Motion to approve personnel procedures.
Oh, you're having problems.
Second.
We have a motion to approve the personnel business procedures. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Click passed. Financial reports. So you all got financial reports in your board packet?
Motion to approve financial report.
Second.
Okay. Motion second to approve financial reports. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Mark?
Awesome. Definitely have a few good items to share with you. I went into and this may be stealing some of Aaron's thunder, but I got to go into the high school last week and watch some of the concrete being smoothed out in the commons area. So we're starting to get a little bit more sure footing in there for when we go through on our own tours, which is kind of nice. And it's, again, yet another thing that when it got in place, it makes the space look even bigger. So I think that's coming together well. Working on putting together some tours, hopefully the Saturday of homecoming in the morning of the old building for folks that are back for class reunions. So just working to find some people to do those with me. I don't know if we'll have a ton of interest, but we're gonna try to get some people through, get them a chance to see
I
that.
think we advertise it well, because I've talked to a few people about it, and people are super excited to get it.
Good.
So we need to advertise it and let people know that.
Good.
And I'll be a tour guide.
Yeah. So we had a superintendent meeting in Fairfield last week, a lot of discussion about how we're trying to implement legislation from last session and where we might receive guidance, where we won't receive guidance from the state. So just really working to wrap our head around that. Obviously, we have two very big weeks coming up for town and for the district with Pancake Day and then homecoming. So the admin team has signed up for a little bit of time to flip pancakes at Pancake Day, so that'll be really fun. I hope people come through our lane and we get to talk to people there. And then obviously homecoming, there's a lot to do with that, with Pep Chapel and the breakfast in the morning and everything. I did have a request, there's a construction meeting next week, and I shared, through my email that I'll be out next week for some medical stuff that I'm gonna do, so, if there's anybody who can make the construction meeting next week,
I can probably make that work.
that'd be a really good one to be at, just to make sure things are moving along pretty well. I mean, I'm trying to stay in touch with Rochelle and with Kevin, and Aaron is on top of everything, but I think it's nice to have our bodies there in full force as much as possible. I tried to negotiate with my doctor to let me out earlier. I said I sit at a desk for 90% of my job, and she said, no, you're gonna do what I told you to do. And my wife said I would listen to her, so I'm going to listen to her.
What time is that?
It is at,
One.
yeah, yep. A very big positive that I wanna make sure I share with you, and, we're gonna work to get something out on this. We received a letter from the state. Centerville Schools was one of 168 schools in the state, which calculates to only 46% of the Iowa High School Athletic Association membership. So only 46% of schools in the state had this. No ejections in the last school year of players or coaches. So on the one side, it's sad that 54% of schools in the state had an ejection last year, but we are one of the positive ones who didn't have that. So our folks are doing the right thing, and they're cheering on their team in ways that represent us well, and our character counts there. And also, very importantly, I think it can be summed up in 4 letters: JETS. So,
Oh, my
thinking,
word.
okay, sorry.
Here we go.
Please don't put that one.
All gas, no brakes, right?
Aaron, do you want to give a construction update, or you want me to do it?
We can do that.
Go ahead.
Of course, like Mark has stated, the concrete was poured in the kitchen and lower commons area, just the lower portion. The upper area should be poured this week sometime, if we're on schedule. The grease interceptor for the kitchen should be installed this week. One big piece, which will be there for the tours, is the walk-in cooler for the kitchen should be installed this week, maybe early next week. Windows in Area C should be installed this week. After windows are installed, they will start drywall in that area. Drywall in Area B is complete.
And just, I don't know if everybody knows area A, B, and C.
Okay, sorry. That's a little, Area C is the office area. So that's where we're waiting on the windows, and then drywall will go up in. Area B is the classroom wing, so all the drywall is done there. Brickwork should be starting within the next couple of weeks. It's moving along pretty well. The classroom area has the most done it. They've got a lot of HVAC done. Most of the water lines are all done over there. All the VADs and the ceilings are done. I've noticed that they've got the data for the HVAC has been in there. They're starting to run some of those lines. Base point is, there's a lot going on. Each week they're making a lot of progress.
It's like little details now, like the data cables for the controls where HVAC are going in.
It's a lot of work.
So, talked with Kevin from Bi-State. He's thinking the week of October 1st, they're gonna paint the classrooms. So the classrooms would be painted for the tours, which would be cool. The cabinetry won't be in there. And he said that, I don't know if he told you this or not, he's thinking by Christmas break, carpet and everything will be in there.
He's mentioned in the past, because I've tried to talk him into releasing it to us in sections, that way we can get started on different areas, and he thinks the classroom wing, strong possibility we could be able to sign off on the classroom wing by the end of the year.
Yeah, well, I talked about, because I don't know if we need an occupancy permit to start moving stuff in. So, that's a technicality, I don't know, but, yeah, so what his want to do, if that's all done by Christmas, that just gets sealed up and nobody goes back in there. No trades, nobody else in there, as they're continuing to work out. this way. And they're, like, the plumbing's going in and all the block walls and the, locker rooms in the gym, all that stuff's going up there. And if you haven't been out there since the tour, it's dramatically changed. I think he's waiting on the roofing contractor to get back, and then that should all be tied up in probably another week of roofing, and then all that's in.
I talked to my cousin, he's the one doing the cabinets, and he was very shocked that they are ahead of schedule.
Okay,
Yeah, he said that they want the cabinets before he had actually thought about they needed them.
3 weeks ago, the three of us went out there,
yeah,
and I'm guessing if you hadn't been out there since our board meeting, it's a completely different building, and I'm sure it's already different from
Yeah.
3 weeks ago we were out there.
One thing I will say about Kevin, Bi-State Kevin, is that he really pushes those guys pretty hard. We have a subcontractor meeting that I go to every Tuesday at 10. He has a meeting with all of those, and he's constantly pushing them to just get more done and more done. He's full on board trying to get this done by completion date, if not earlier.
and I also said that he's maintaining a really clean work site.
He's
He's making sure that, they have to sweep that up every night. So I'm really pleased with the level of detail that they're going through.
We've not had a panic attack when they were sanding the drywall in the
Yeah.
classroom wing.
Yep.
But that's very dirty. That's very messy to do that.
But yeah, so if you want to, just go down, check in at the station and just, remind him who you're in the board, and he'll give you a hard hat and you can go walk through, so. I try and walk through every week, and every week there's just something a little bit different that's done. That's just, if you haven't been in there since the tour, you'll be amazed at how much you probably do the night patrol thing. So,
Bi-State was a good contractor, apparently, and they've been a good contractor.
yeah. Oh, and the school trivia question is gonna be, this came from Kevin at Bi-State, is that how many bricks are going on the exterior of the addition? 50,000. So anybody that's watched the stream, that's gonna be the official, open day trivia question, how many?
I saw on the backside where their trailer is, they're kind of by the industrial wing and stuff like that, they have a
Little mock-up.
mock-up wall. Is that the actual brick that
That
we're
is,
using?
yeah.
And-
That's it.
Alright.
It's a different size,
That's, yeah.
it's larger.
They had to make that so Rochelle would approve the look of the brick.
Okay.
The bricks are not the same, I think I noticed that the bricks that are on the existing building are a lot smaller, these are a lot bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's okay, it's an addition.
So deliveries are kind of, when you live right there, about 9 o'clock, an awful lot of semi trucks arrive and get unloaded there between 9 and 10.
Drive down from Des Moines or Cedar Rapids.
I guess, I don't know, but some of them have to drive around a while to figure out where to park their vehicles.
Yeah,
The whole
They
better.
went by my street 3 or 4 times before he finally
yeah.
found a place where he felt was safe to park, I guess.
You know, things like on the ramp in the commentary, that ramp, that railing came in, and they got it up and it's installed, and he said everything fit exactly the way, they had to do no trimming, no adjusting, everything fit really well into that, so.
Any concerns from the neighbors, any
No,
issues there? No.
It's dirty.
Wow.
Every time you get in your car, you gotta do your windshield wipers,
Can't do much about that.
sometimes 2 or 3 times a day, but it's gonna be over soon.
And I know this week he's got the saw man, as he called him. The saw man's gonna be there to talk about, they're gonna start walking through how they separate. He's already at the point where he's thinking about separating for the demo and how they saw them.
they came through, him and his saw guy went through Saturday.
Saturday, okay.
Went
they went
in
through
to
Saturday.
the high school and we were walking around.
Yeah. So the fact that he's actually bringing the demo people in tells you a lot more than your schedule, so.
Well, we've had some good conversations about what we can do with the window of time that we've got to try to speed it a little bit sooner into the asbestos abatement. Because I think right now, would you agree, Aaron, that's the biggest concern is the length of time asbestos abatement may or may not take.
I had some talks with them and I'm getting the ball rolling on time frame. They're gonna start doing their own bidding out process of the contractor and everything like that.
Yeah.
So we're get the ball rolling on that. He sent me the reports that were done within the last year, and he's still thinking about 3 weeks. But that's not including anything that's in the road. That's what he's told me.
Okay, anything else on the construction update? Just encourage everybody to walk through and see it, it's kind of fun to watch. A lot of money to watch too. All right, board takeaways. Michael?
I think you all know I sub and stuff, the absence management that we signed off to look at. As far as a sub, I have the app on my phone. It is absolutely terrific.
Oh, the four,
So when there's a teacher or associate gone, it pops up immediately that they're taking time off, and as a sub, you can go in and accept that job, and it's terrific.
yeah.
So great job, both for that.
Go team.
Yeah, I think kind of listening a little bit to the food service presentation, I think maybe here coming up, we need to possibly look at some different policies on moving forward with the high school when it comes to lunch and things like that, as far as getting our best use of the space and the program.
Okay. I'm just gonna go around the horn. Chris?
Well, I enjoyed hearing about Oakland because I've been asking about that for a long time, and I'm happy to say that I think I'm okay with it. The other thing was Jill Whistler. That's amazing what she's doing. It's a great position for us.
Yeah, good person in it too.
Derek?
Yeah, I mean, that was good to hear. One thing over the last couple of weeks, you know, I know kind of our challenge this year was communications as a district goes. You know, there were some things on Facebook this week, some errors or whatnot on some dates, and the general public is just taking Facebook and just using it as a punching bag. And so I would like to really look into finding a more streamlined, universal way, one-way communication. Because I don't think that's fair for those that do run those accounts to constantly feel the need to respond to comments. You and I kind of texted a little bit a while back, you know, possibly looking into like a district app or something like that. And again, when you got 47 different clubs that your kids may be in, when you got, you know, all these different pages we're looking at, I just think something probably sooner the better than later, and I can see us really dive into and try to find a solution.
I think we've talked a little bit internally about some Facebook policies too. So like if we're gonna use that for communication, how we do it. And there's some real ideas, and actually I've got a couple of community members who have really given some good feedback on that. And I'm trying to compile that in a way to then meet with our principals or kind of our chief people for each building to understand, one of which being, you know, we need at least 48 hours notice on an item, so that it's not, you know, the morning of, hey, make sure to do this or don't do that. Those are big ones for us right now.
Mr. Thomas?
I guess I've been following, you know, some of your comments on your weekly thing and following the legislature, following this whole thing about, you know, what maybe you can use for a student and one book you can have in your library, and all those sort of controversial. You know, a guy told me a long time ago that there's no controversy and there's no work for lawyers. And I hate to say it, but I think this whole issue we have to deal with, but the fact is, somebody's making a lot of money off of us on this deal. And I don't know, and I think you said earlier we were gonna kind of take a back seat here to kind of sit back and watch that. And I think that's a good strategy at this point.
For now.
But I think it's something that we will deal with here. in the near future, that somehow, some way.
But the guy who wrote that bill said he had no intention of nicknames being part of his legislation at all. That's just people misinterpreting what the intention was, I think, so we gotta get rid of stupid people.
Well, it's the law of unintended consequences with legislation that's not specific.
Say that again.
It's the law of unintended consequences. Because of everything that's going on in the world, people are they're gonna go through, it's like, oh, does this mean we can't, that's a nickname, and people are so, because of controversy in lawyers, they're so afraid to do things. They ask for guidance, and it just blows up. All right. Mr. Thomas.
Yeah, just sitting here for the last few weeks, I think a good move was hiring a separate person for transportation, a separate person for buildings and grounds, because you can just see the results when they do it, to be able to go out and get substitute. There's just time to do some of that stuff that maybe didn't get taken care of before. My other concern is we're paying money to the pitch, and there's this ad that I see day after day of these wonderful plays and some athletic contests. What's our purpose for advertising on there? And I think there needs to be a different ad that sells our school a little bit better. And that ad's been on all summer.
Yeah.
I know AJ and I have been talking about a few ads that we want to put together. So I think it's a matter of I need to schedule some time and sit down and go over some of those ideas that he's got with us. Actually, conveniently, that comes along with, he's got some advice on our Facebook and how we're presenting ourselves through there. So I need to put that, it's been on my running to-do list for a few weeks here. It's time that I get it moved up a little bit higher on the priority and get that done, I think.
Oh,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
No, you go.
Well, I was wondering how our public relations firm, are they, I don't hear anything about them.
Yeah, I have not made as good a use of that as I thought I was going to, and so that's where one of our items is we have gotten this year started, we need to figure out the best way to make use of their services, and I don't know if that's directly connecting them to our Facebook to help us manage that, because that could be a concern, rather than having a middleman. But we're gonna schedule a meeting with them and figure out what works for them in other districts that is better than the superintendent didn't get back with you because 12 people needed something today. So I need to figure out what, because they've got things that they wanna be doing, and I think the holdup a lot of times is whether or not I've got the time to critique.
They've got to get the information from us.
Yeah.
And that's where we're.
So they've asked about coming into the district. I think I shared maybe a few weeks ago, one of the gals does a lot of talks on anti-bullying. And that's something that I'd really like to see us hit hard next year or even the second half of this year. So coming in to do that, but then they want to spend some time just going to the buildings and seeing what's great about Centerville and what is it that they need to sell. So they've asked to be scheduled to come in for some days in person. And actually, I would say if anybody would like to meet them when they come in, I can share the dates with you guys and we could schedule some times where folks could come in and kind of get to know them a little bit. That could help.
I like seeing you guys on the morning pitch show beforehand.
Yeah, that is
commercials
good.
and stuff, you know.
That's really fun too. I mean, those guys.
We probably need to do that once a month, just
Yeah.
because.
Like a morning show once a month, yeah. Even if it's not for a specific purpose, just to update on the school.
Yeah, just give an update, so. We do,
And
because,
AJ's on, so he's hearing that, so.
yeah,
it'll
we
be
want to come back on,
similar to that,
AJ,
and-
maybe do a construction update.
So,
Okay, I want to do one more thing. Talking about the food program, Saturday night, there's a McDonald's, there's this kid in kindergarten, I said, well, how's the food in the cafeteria? Same thing that you did. And he said, oh, it's good. And then his mother said, he takes his lunch.
Well, that's why it was good.
So I said, well, you know, we hired a company who she remembered when she was in school, the food wasn't very good. And I said, oh, it's much better this year. And so there's parents who don't even know we've changed companies, but I think that's a personal problem with this person. I doubt if there's very many other people who don't know that we've changed companies on this.
Tim?
I'll start with the food service, see what Belinda was doing with the problem solving that I didn't know about, that there's some good stuff going on there, we should help with that. Friday, I had a great time at Paper Hat Night. All of loved getting the signatures from the cheerleaders and the football players. It's kind of a scary night, didn't like seeing the stretcher out there twice. So, I had one more thing. Oh, I wanna echo kind of what we said on the social media thing there. We said, that we really probably shouldn't have a forum out there. That information should be pushed out, and then they can contact us if there needs to be discussion. I would echo that.
Because there are districts that do actual apps, and, you know, because my first thought was, we'll just use the district webpage. Well, it's not necessarily mobile friendly. I mean, it can be, but a lot of people like those apps.
So like with the band app, then you can just keep adding people, and they can all say something back. Or if you get 3 kids in there.
Yeah, that's probably better for an individual classroom rather than anything large, I think.
Or even a classroom, you could end up with grandparents on there, the child themselves,
Well,
parent, father.
We got one that thinks the captain's direct link to just the teacher, and it's,
Yeah.
you know, we've silenced notifications because I don't want to hear it going off every time. So there's some of the struggles, but it's, again, it's new.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna have that, but I just think as far as the getting the information out, yes, I 100% agree. You know, a timeline, but I don't think we need to get away from that.
That's not everything, but I think that's one thing to help with some of the
Right.
concerns that have come up in the last couple of weeks. I think there were a lot of last minute things shared that kind of put people on the back foot a little bit. And we just need to follow some protocol to make sure people can be informed in a timely manner.
There's very little good comes out of Facebook, guys.
Yeah, that's true.
It all it does is it lights a fire under the coals.
Yep.
Okay?
Yeah.
So,
We see how many we have that come to our meetings for public
Well, you know,
forums, you know,
but they're always welcome. And
Absolutely.
that's the message we need to
Absolutely.
put out. If you want to discuss it, I'll be glad to discuss it face to face, you know?
But people wanna hide on Facebook.
Right,
They
that's
think
exactly where
Well,
we
and
are.
that's where I'm coming from with it too,
They don't need
because,
any more snipers.
you know, it's like they, you know, it's easy to take those things personal and take them to heart and get defensive, and I've seen stuff, and it's hard for me not to wanna clap back, but I can't.
The
So I think we just
problem
need to mitigate some of that.
there is probably a 90% of your audience who's not saying back negative things, or who you see a lot of reshares of. I just saw a former parent, a business owner in town, share how she wishes that she had the notification that you can get from Facebook back when her kid was in school, because it's nice to be able to go back and access that. So I think it's a matter of managing that. And one thing that we probably need to do a better job of is some things don't really require comment. So some items don't need comments turned on.
There's a lot of business professional pages where you can't comment on.
Yeah.
And we should take that. All right, so I'm gonna reel this back because these are takeaways, we're getting to probably outside of some of that. But no, I think.
For a work session.
Yeah, it's probably work, exactly, that's what I'm thinking, so. But no, good feedback and good things, and these are the kinds of things the problems that we need to solve that are out there. So I think my takeaway, I already talked about ISB convention, I'm not gonna spend any more time on it. So, besides I know that he wants to watch the biwings play.
We can take as long as we need.
No. He wants to watch the biplanes and go out there and barnstorm around, so. Anyways. So I'm gonna use my previous comments on the ISB convention as my takeaway, so. Having said that, that brings us to the end of our agenda. Motion to adjourn, please.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Whichever one.
I'll do it then. Flip a coin, let's go for
Rock,
the,
paper, scissors.
all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you very much.
You know, Mark, it's not actually bad if you get there a little late.